Body of man missing during floods recovered. Minister Wera Mori explains visit to Pacific Marine Industrial Zone. And remote Evara village gets new aid post.
This is the National Emtv News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Sunday's News. Commerce and Industry Minister Wera Mori says the PMIZ project in Madang is a national government development project, and his visit to the province was to ensure the project moves forward. The minister was responding to a newspaper article in which Madang Governor Peter Yama commented on the minister's visit to the project site.
The news article Minister Mori was making reference to was published on Friday, the 1st of March, under the headline, Yama warns outside politicians to stay out of PMIZ in Madang. The first paragraph of the article read, Madang Governor Peter Yama has warned Waigani politicians against travelling to Madang to engage with administration and landowners in the Pacific Marine Industrial Zone project. The article further stated that Governor Yama was in Port Moresby to present the province's 2019 budget when a political team from Port Moresby visited Madang. Minister Mori, in response today, said the article refers to his recent visit and wants to clarify that the PMIZ project is a national government project and his visit was to ensure the project moves forward.
I have no hidden agenda to be in Madang. The purpose for me to be in Madang was to basically to see the PMIZ project is progressed forward.
The PMIZ project, once completed, will house 10 tuna processing plants for tuna caught in Papua New Guinea and other Pacific countries. The national government has obtained over 150 million kina funding from the Chinese Exim Bank to build the project. But Minister Mori says there is still more to be done before the project is fully developed.
The reason why we have got to work together with Madang provincial government is simply for the fact that there are critical enablers which is beyond the capacity of the Madang provincial government, and that is to make sure that there is sufficient water to supply to PMIZ. And at the same time too, you have got to make sure that there is adequate electricity to power PMIZ, apart from the existing one that is powering Madang, Arbiton and other establishments in Madang.
And with Governor Yama's comments on the transferal of the PMIZ project to the Madang provincial government, Minister Mori says the requirements to obtaining funding from the Exim Bank clearly states that the bank loan will be given only to the national government and not the provincial government.
Statement by the Prime Minister, we are in progress to work closely together with the Madang provincial government so that this important project gets off the ground.
Thekla Gunga, National Emtv News.
The PNG Forest Authority will now be incorporating drones for forest monitoring within the country. 28 officers of the PNG Forest Authority completed a 2-week workshop on drone usage on Friday, facilitated by PNGFA and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. Director for Forest Policy and Planning, Dr. Ruth Turia, says PNGFA is aware that approval is needed from PNG CASA for the officers to use the drones and for the drones to be flown in the country.
28 officers of the PNG Forest Authority just completed a 2-week drone usage workshop.
The JICA project that we're implementing. So part of the work that we are doing is trying to teach the field officers on using various tools. We had started off with GPS, that's a geographic positional system, that's GPS, and now we are introducing drones.
Although PNG is rich in its wide expansion of forest, logistical limitations hinder PNG Forest Authority from fully managing the forest.
We follow whatever the companies are doing. We walk through and check that what they are doing is in line with our requirements. And that will take probably 2 days, 1 day, depends on how far that logging project is from where our officers are stationed.
This training is aimed at addressing manpower and technology constraints.
So with this use of this technology, we're hoping that you can go in a motor vehicle, even a motor, outboard motor, and sit somewhere and fly it up in the air, take the pictures, and then you can come back and see what's it's telling you. And as I said, if you're still not clear, then you have to walk in and do the check yourself.
The participants are from the Southern Region Office, Area West Regional Office in West New Britain, Eastern Highlands, Bulolo Forest Plantation in Morobe, Kuriva Forestry Project just outside Port Moresby, and from within the headquarters. A participant, Jerry Cohen, found the workshop to enhance his working capacity in his field of expertise. However, he said not all activities of using the drone will be applicable.
In pre-logging meaning there is no logging there yet, and the companies will go in and do all the pre-logging markings, and then we will go and do the inspection, and before we grant approvals. You can't see that from aerial, so you have to actually do the ground truthing, walking into the bush.
Although the officers are not licensed yet, Dr. Turia said PNGFA will make sure all regulations are met before the drones are used for work.
The officers are not licensed. I understand that we need to get some approval from PNG CASA. We are working on that. So I think before we actually go out and use this, we need to get some approval from PNG CASA to be able to use this tool.
Lilian Sopera Kinea, National Emtv News.
A delegation from the German government has concluded a 3-day visit to Papua New Guinea this week. The 6-member team from the German Bundestag or Parliament becomes the first German delegate to discuss opportunities to develop long-term partnerships with the PNG government. The meeting with National Planning Minister involved discussions on the medium-term development plan, which focuses on economic growth, and the German team expressed interest in Papua New Guinea's renewable energy sector. The German government has extended invitations for the PNG government to visit Germany for further discussions. A community-based conservation organization in Milne Bay was part of World Wildlife Day at Port Moresby's Nature Park this weekend. The Milne Bay Turtle Conservation is part of various wildlife conservations that do awareness on wildlife in PNG and the importance of conserving them.
The Misima Turtle Conservation in Milne Bay was established in 2012 as an initiative of Liberty Betwell.
Like me, who actually never made it.
Coming all the way from Milne Bay to commemorate World Wildlife Day, Liberty brought a turtle which was displayed at her stall in Nature Park. Driven by passion, Liberty says this project is a way of conducting awareness to people in looking after wildlife.
The lack of knowledge and the background with the turtles, we use a lot of the traditional or cultural knowledge and skills, together with the skill that they have taught us into how to apply the tags on the flippers of the turtles and measuring the carapace of the turtle that we record.
With this year's theme focused on marine life underwater, people are urged not to throw rubbish into the sea, especially plastic bags.
Let's not sit down and ignore, like claim to say, oh, I own this, I own that, and you don't take responsibility, you don't take ownership. So it's time for all of us to speak positive about what we own, and how best we can care for it in our own little way.
Liberty acknowledged ExxonMobil and Nature Park for the opportunity to take part in the program to raise awareness and educate people on the importance of wildlife conservation. Patricia Chiamo, National MTV News.
Yeah, with National MTV News this Sunday, we'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The 11 men apprehended in Alotau to be processed at the district court in Port Moresby are expected to appear in court this week. They were charged last week for the murder of Milne-based provincial legal officer on the 23rd of January. The 11 men who were arrested are believed to be part of Tommy Baker's gang and alleged to have been involved in the burning down of 9 houses in Alotau recently. The prosecution in Port Moresby is because of the absence of a district court magistrate in Alotau. Meanwhile, the gang leader, Tommy Baker, remains at large. Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu says he will be raising the matter of the incomplete Late to Nadzab highway in the next sitting of Parliament. Governor Saunu said he has raised the matter previously, but there has been no work done on completing the highway section. It is understood funding has already been approved.
Good plan. Long time yet, story long time yet. Also road by come up now. Miresim long parliament, Miresim long works minister, member long TYCSC to raise him, member long Makam to raise him, member long close to all the members long province. Me play a consent on this land, me play the raise him. Tasolem something is that beyond long control long me play long provincial government. And start want the National Department of Works. Government is one kind of agreement with the company, long China. And on top you got money, but why not delay me clear?
Following the Supreme Court's decision this week to allow former TYCSC MP Mao Ziming to file his election petition in the National Court, sitting member Kobe Bomareo said the court case will not hinder development projects. He said the district will continue to progress with the projects they've already started. Mr. Ziming now has the opportunity to file his election petition after it was dismissed for being filed late in 2017.
With this court's decision, I understand that at the moment it is creating anxiety, uncertainty, doubts among my people. And I would like to appeal to my people to take the decision as it comes and do not take the law and order into their own hands. They have to be more considerate with what we are doing now. I believe we are progressively and slowly putting the district back among 10 other districts in Morobe province. And we are doing so fine with whatever money that we have at this point in time through national government and other fundings that we source out.
A Papua New Guinea Defence Force cadet has made history by becoming the first military cadet officer to graduate as a military doctor. Lieutenant Lorraine Mai was enlisted into the PNGDF in 2012 as a cadet officer and was selected to study in China. Under a bilateral agreement with the PNGDF and the People's Liberation Army, Lorraine studied medicine and surgery, graduating in 2018. On Friday, she was finally commissioned as a military officer with the rank of lieutenant. Lieutenant Mai is 32 years old and hails from Agutamanda village in Wapenamanda, Enga province. She is the first of the 4 PNGDF cadets currently studying at the 2nd Military Medical University in Shanghai in China. The 2nd cadet will be graduating in July this year. Evara village, located within the PRL 15 Papua LNG project area of Gulf Province, was the proud recipient of a fully equipped aid post that included solar lighting and a tank. The aid post was built through a collaborative partnership between Total, PNG, Digicel Foundation and the Gulf Provincial Government.
Evara community is located in the remotest part of Gulf Province. Transportation is a major challenge, thus making it difficult for government services to reach this community. Total ENP PNG Limited partnered with Digicel Foundation to invest in sustainable development programs for the sole purpose of building stronger and more resilient communities in Papua New Guinea through meaningful projects and programs focusing on health and education. Through that partnership, Digicel Foundation provided building materials which Total F freighted and also transported by boat.
With this project in particular, we were very fortunate to have come together with Total, Petroleum and Energy PNG Limited, to deliver this aid post along with the wash and toilet facility for the community.
In 2017, Digital Foundation conducted an assessment in the Evara area and initiated the project. However, given the area's geographical isolation with no roads, Total came on board to help. The opening of the aid post and sanitation facility is the third project completed by Total, Digital Foundation and the Gulf Provincial Government. This partnership has also delivered double-story classrooms in Poroi 2 and Muro. Total Energy and Petroleum PNG Limited Managing Director Jean McNoyre said Total is keen on contributing through these partnerships.
Total as a company, we really are keen, and it's one of our central message that we want to be good neighbors. We want to contribute. It's a contribution which is, we are not alone for that. We look for partnerships. So doing it with such good partners as Digicel. And of course, we cannot do anything without the government. So government being here is a signal that this partnership works, and this partnership is promising and can do a lot for our neighboring communities.
Gulf Governor Chris Haiveta emphasized on the importance of working to deliver in areas where government services cannot be reached.
The Digital Foundation it has partnered very well with Total, and I would urge them to cooperate and keep this partnership going. We look forward in the province to work now much more closely with them and to ensure that the project areas that they choose are areas where government services are not able to be delivered.
Michelle Stephen, National Emtv News.
Here with Sunday's News, we'll have more after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to Sunday's News. The body of a man washed away by flash flooding in East New Britain province was recovered today. The corpse was found floating among debris along the Kiravat River in the Gazelle district. Relatives of the man says he went missing 3 weeks ago after being washed off by flood several kilometers upriver.
It's not always that people gather here, but this morning it was different. The small community at Nari, a few kilometers out of Kiravat Township, were alerted to the body of a man. Is believed to be floating in the river for more than 2 weeks.
Omangi pulo kanu ben wara gonta blem. Amoli paini isa body na en paslo ipipia. Amdan tupla weekly so body am sola finish.
His relatives showed up this morning to retrieve the body for a proper burial. The man believed to be in his late 20s and lives at Gaulim. His relatives say he was intending to cross a flooded river when he was swept away by strong current.
Only come down now, or come down in the morning, come down mangi at your limited employer, and all help him. The kissing body go, straight him and go to the coffee, or kissing and go low.
Over the past 2 weeks, the relatives have put up a search effort with hopes of recovering his body. This is one of the first reported deaths caused by flash floods that stormed most parts of East New Britain province and continued for about 2 weeks. While flood may have receded, the authorities have issued strong warnings to the people to stay away from flooded rivers as rain is expected to continue in most parts of the province. Edwin Fidelis, National Emtv News, Kokopo.
Turning overseas now, rising sea levels are getting worse on the tiny island of Kiribati. New Zealand Foreign Minister Winston Peter has just visited the island to announce more Kiwi aid. The Pacific nation has a population of 116,000.
In Coral Atoll, this is the reality. The king tides this year exceptionally high, nearly 3 metres, which also happens to be the highest point on the island of Tarawa.
Well, it's quite stark. I don't know whether you got to the high point. That's 3 metres, and that is it. Unusually called Mount Tarawa, but the fact is that, yes, there are serious issues here.
Most wells are now salt water in the water reservoir under serious stress. What comes out of the tap is not safe to drink. So New Zealand's funded this $1.1 million desalination project, turning seawater into what's considered liquid gold here.
It's very, very important because you know water is life, and because we are in the drought season now and we need water.
This plant alone will pump 500,000 litres of water into the mains a day, about a quarter of what the island needs. And there's plans to build more along the coastline. Eventually it's hoped the whole of South Tarawa, home to 56,000 people, will be using purified seawater.
When you look at water though, and how critical it is to them, this is a seriously high payback, low investment operation.
It's an investment welcomed here. The red carpet rolled out for the New Zealand delegation. But behind the smiles is serious concern, as locals can't help but notice the king tide's getting higher each year.
We are big worried about it because we don't know, maybe the next tide coming can be bigger than this one.
These beaches are once the scene of a deadly World War II battle, but these days the war's being fought on a very different front, as rising tides and erosion put this already vulnerable country at risk.
For the people here, this is home, and they want it to stay that way.
Lightning strikes have sparked several large bushfires that are now merging into one monster blaze, burning out of control about 65 kilometers east of Melbourne. 5 homes have been lost, and authorities say there are likely to be more.
The intensity of the inferno ignited a frightening explosion as the battle in Victoria turns to saving not only homes but lives from the path of the destructive flames.
On a day like today, our focus is on protecting life.
David Wentworth's house is dangerously close.
500 metres that way at the moment.
His kids have fled the family home. He's preparing to abandon his property and livelihood too.
Grab the pets and let the cows free roam, so they got a half a chance, and same with the chooks and the ducks.
He's one of hundreds of Bunyip residents who have been told to leave.
Oh, just sleeping on the side of the road in the car. So yeah, it's a bit scary.
It all began on Friday as 4 fires inside the state's national park.
Started as a result of a lightning strike. It is getting worse at the moment.
Those fears confirmed when the out-of-control flames merged into one 6,000-hectare monster blaze. Late this afternoon, the situation worsened. The fast-moving fire has now reached a major highway.
Naturally, our worst-case scenario is where people become trapped in vehicles.
There are now 850 firefighters, more than a dozen planes and other aircraft, focused on the firefight that's escalating with each hour. Flames pushed by erratic winds and fuelled by 40-degree temperatures. Residents forced to flee are now seeking safety at evacuation centres.
We've had to leave the sheep behind. We just couldn't get them onto the trailer. And we've also got 15 chickens.
As the battle continues, there's a change of wind right now in Melbourne, and it's not in favour of the firefight.
It's a critical couple of weeks ahead for Britain in relation to Brexit. The opposition party, Labour, are now moving to let the Prime Minister's deal pass if the people can vote on it. But Theresa May is so opposed to a second referendum.
Outside Britain's Parliament, now a daily occurrence.
We've wasted 2.5 years on Brexit. We need to stop, call a halt to it.
And while protesters make their opinion clear outside, inside Westminster, politicians clashed on Britain's future, how and when it will leave the EU.
It's only around 4 weeks until Britain must leave the EU, so the uncertainty of the prospect of a no-deal Brexit is at the forefront of everyone's minds, with Theresa May under more and more pressure to reach a deal that everyone must agree on.
Pressure growing too from outside Westminster.
I believe that in the situation we are in, an extension would be a rational solution.
This week, for the first time, the Prime Minister Minister has said Brexit could be delayed.
But let me be clear. I do not want to see Article 50 extended. Our absolute focus should be on working to get a deal and leaving on the 29th of March.
MPs from her own party have threatened to walk if a deal isn't reached. There are major concerns around the likely chaos of a no-deal Brexit, so an extension is looking likely.
She has said hundreds of times that we will leave the European Union on 29th of March. My concern is that we'll just drag on and on and on. It will never be resolved.
Labour digging in on a new drive, a second referendum.
The Prime Minister's botched deal provides no certainty or guarantees for the future and was comprehensively rejected by this House. We believe there must be a confirmatory public vote to see if people feel that's what they voted for.
A critical month ahead for the future of Britain.
All going well, a lone masked crew in a spacecraft will dock at the International Space Station in a few hours. The flight is a test in what's being described as a new astronaut taxi service, which could open up space to commercial customers.
3, 2, 1. 0. Ignition, liftoff.
Up and away, SpaceX mighty Falcon rocket. And on top, the Dragon space capsule. Designed to take 4 astronauts into space, but not just yet. Instead, just a solitary crash test dummy wired with sensors is in one of these seats. This uncrewed test is part of an ambitious NASA project to send astronauts into space from US soil once more.
What today really represents is a new era in spaceflight, an era where we are looking forward to being one customer as an agency and as a country.
It's been 8 long years since the country that won the space race has been grounded. The shuttle was withdrawn from service because it was unsafe, and NASA had to pay the Russian space agency to send its astronauts to the space station on its Soyuz rockets. But in 2014, NASA awarded SpaceX and Boeing a combined £5 billion contract so that each could build their own spacecraft.
I really believe in the future of space, and I think it's important that we become a spacefaring civilization and be out there among the stars. And we want the things that are in science fiction novels and movies not to be science fiction forever. We want them to be real one day.
NASA hopes to use the vehicles to send astronauts into space by the end of the year.
Here with Sunday's News, we go for another break. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League. A selection trial was held today for the Port Moresby Vipers to select a 30-man squad for this year's intercity competition. Operations Manager Paul Comboy says the criteria of the selections were based on self-attributes such as respect, attitude on and off the field that define good sportsmanship.
With the aim of selecting an even stronger side for this season, teams have come from around Port Moresby to compete for a spot in the 30-man squad for the Vipers. Operations Manager Paul Comboy says with so much talent on board, it'll be a tough decision for the selectors, but they will make sure that their best players are identified to represent NCD once the season kicks off.
So this is the last trial that we will be going through to select the final 30-man squad to go through their last phase of training. I think we will be selecting about maybe 3, 4, 5 from the teams that we invited into this tournament, and then they will go through a training, and from there we will select the final 25-man squad.
Comboy says selections will be based on self-attributes.
I think we will basically be trying our best to improve our discipline in and off the field, because now we are checking players based on discipline, even officials. We will check based on discipline in and off the field as well. Yeah. discipline is the main foundation of the this will base the selection foundation. Discipline and skills and knowledge of the game as well. Now, the game is advancing, and the players must at least be advancing as well as progress in what rugby league is taking shape. Yeah.
He says the board is looking to work on areas that will boost the performance of not just the team, but officials and those contributing to supporting the Vipers this year.
I think last year we had a bit of problem both on management and team. So this year we decided we have to put a very important thing is put a good managing team in place, and then if they can do their job, and then I think from there players and the team can do their job, play their part, and then we can bring the team from. I think we left out from the finals last year, so we hope that this year we can go to the bring up step up further. Yeah, I think this year Port Moresby Vipers is representing Port Moresby now, so Milne just put him invitation to all the residents of Port Moresby to come out and support Port Moresby Vipers.
Godwin Eki, National Emtv Sports.
To some updates in football, and West Tribe FC has overcome the home advantage to defeat FC Radars 3-1 at the Ceremonial Park in Kokopo, Eastern Britain this afternoon. West Tribe bounced back from last weekend's scoreless draw with NBPOL Green Gold to register their first win in the Kumul Petroleum NSL Islands Conference. The other match between Woodall FC and Green Gold in Kimbe did not eventuate as scheduled due to Woodall FC's non-attendance. In the Highlands Conference, Blue Kumuls defeated Enga Laima 6-2 in the second match. Kagua Erave also thumped rivals Chimbu Angra with the same margin, while in the main game, Hagen FC edged out Aporomai FC 3-2. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To some sport abroad now, and to Super Rugby. The Crusaders continued to lead the way with win number 18. The champions have beaten the Queensland Reds in Brisbane. In the end, they had to grind it out with 14 men on the field due to an error made by a sideline official.
Other New Zealand sides deal with varying issues. The Crusaders just march on, scoring 2 tries early in the heat. And they've confirmed even more new talent in 21-year-old Tasman fullback Will Jordan.
And good backing up on the inside from Jordan. And the pace is on. He's got some toe as well.
This length of the field effort arguably the Crusaders' best of the season. Although under new coach Brad Thorne, the Reds are showing more steel and persistence.
Karevi, they won't stop him. Too big and too strong.
Just like the Crusaders, the Reds pretty much shut out of the second half. 2 more tries sealed a pragmatic victory.
Getting over the line, it is a try. Arm goes out, advantage being played. They won't need it. They're over the line and it is another try.
The only real hiccup in a dominant forwards performance was further out. Replacement first 5 Mitchell Hunt went off for what looked like a concussion test, only for Richie Moonga to return, to then be told he couldn't keep on playing.
They can't put a free substitution on because they've used all their subs, so they need to play with 14 players.
No worries, even a man down, the Crusaders went on to win 22-12. At the other end of the spectrum, the Chiefs were embarrassed at home.
The ball out the back door, and now there are a chance the Sunwolves are in.
Down early, the Chiefs proved the Canberra collapse last week wasn't an anomaly. This week it was the Hamilton horror. Error after error, almost 30 turnovers conceded. The Tokyo-based Sunwolves scoring their first ever win away from home after 3 seasons of trying. Packed with Pacifica and Kiwi talent unwanted here, the Sunwolves showed a ton of spirit, but also skill and resolve. 30-15, the Chiefs, just like the Blues, winless and facing a very long season. Not a great way to cap off home celebrations for Brodie Retallick's 100th appearance.
To cricket, and the Black Caps have made relatively hard work of finishing off Bangladesh in the first cricket test match in Hamilton today. It looked as though it might be over before lunch on the 4th day, but the truce threatened to force New Zealand to bat again.
The 6 wickets the Black Caps were seeking may have seemed a formality, but they wouldn't come easy.
6. Beautifully hooked.
Bangladesh's huge deficit putting Soy Masaka on the counter-attack.
Well, that's played in the air. It's going to be tight. It's tight. It's over.
Neil Wagner's effort with the short ball going unrewarded as Saka equalled the fastest test century for Bangladesh.
Got it. Well played.
Sarkar and Mamudala navigating their way through the first session as their partnership passed 200. However, the new ball had immediate impact.
Straight through him.
And so often one wicket brings two, Trent Boult finishing with 5.
And he's got him now, Trent Boult.
And the effort from Wagner finally paid off.
Oh, he's taking it on. It's in the air. This should be out. Jeetville takes it.
The Black Caps completing an innings win as BJ Watling broke the New Zealand record for test dismissals, overtaking Adam Perori's 201.
There were so many contributions in that batting effort, which went a long way for us to be in a position of strength.
The Black Caps now firmly on track for a record 5th Test Series win.
And to Trukai Sports, here are some thrills and spills on the field.
And sick. Zoe Sadowski-Synnott carving it up at the US Open.
And there is that switch backside 900.
Throwing down this backside 540, the young Kiwi stoked to reign slopestyle supreme, showing off some sick skill, the swivel 360. Let's see that again. Not a bad bypass from the boy in the B-ball.
Ooh, God.
But it's not just the kids killing it. This pooch puts most wide receivers to shame. I think this golfer thinks he's a dog.
Goodness me. What's going on here? I've got absolutely no idea.
I do. He's a beagle trying to avoid a bogey. Sean Stefani is obviously of the boxer breed.
That's what I would do if I had that body.
That is a sure way to make the nightly highlight.
Kieran Trippier definitely made the highlights. Well, lowlights in his case for this own goal.
It's another egg on your face moment for Tottenham.
But while Trippier made a heel of himself, Sadio Mane used his to good use.
Mane's completely free and scores in style.
Also scoring at will, Williamson, Captain Kane.
Flat, and there it is. He brings up the 200, Kane Williamson, his second one.
Helping the Black Caps to their highest ever test total of 715 for 6 declared. But my moment of the week goes back to the young'uns. While many at the Track Cycling World Championships were coming unstuck, one 20-year-old was claiming New Zealand's first rainbow jersey in the Omnium. Congratulations, Campbell Stewart.
And that ends Trukai Sports for this evening. When we come back, we take a look at the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
I'll look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Fine and a top of 32 degrees for Port Moresby and Alota. Fine and 31 for Popondetta. Some showers expected in Daru and Kerma. To the Momasi region, rain and showers expected in Leh and Wau. Mostly fine for Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine for Lorangau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe. A shower or two expected in Buka with a top of 32 degrees. And in the Highlands region, the major centres Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabed can expect mostly fine weather over the next 24 hours, with early morning fog developing. To the look at the forecast for small ships and the waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerma, Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island, sea 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands and waters of Samurai Island to Kibogo, Finchafen, and waters of Finchafen through Vitias and Dampier Strait to Siasi Island, Long Island, and waters of Long Island to Medang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, and the northern PNG Indonesian border, and waters of Manus in its western group of islands, sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of New Britain to New Island to Bougainville, sea 0.3 to 1.3 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea sees moderate to rather rough with southeasterly winds at 15 to 25 knots. Solomon Sea sees slight with south to southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea sees slight with west to northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And the Pacific Ocean sees slight with southwesterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Sunday the 3rd of March 2019. On behalf of the MTV News team right around the country, have a safe working week. Good night.